police running all in and out the building. What the hell is going on?
To tank or not to tank? That is the question.
What up, Lo?
Hey, yo, what's good? What's good? What's good? YouTube, what's good? Raider Nation. Yes, sir. We are here. And, we got to ask that question. To tank or not to tank? That is the question, especially in regards to the Raider Nation. All right. Hey, but before we get into that, I got to give y'all the Raider Twuan brown cracker salute. Remember, there's no Raider Twuan without the congregation. And there is no congregation without the Raider Nation. Salute. Yes, sir. And go ahead and hit that like button.
Fucking Stizan.
Twuan, hey Twuan, hit that like button. Why? Because I like you.
That's right. Go ahead and hit that like button. And if you like the Raiders or you just want to hear some Raider gospel, come on over to Raider Twuan, hit that subscribe button. Like I always say, quit playing with yourself. Go ahead and subscribe. All right. Hey, look, I see some brown crackers in the chat. I'm going to give y'all another Raider Twuan brown cracker salute for everybody putting the brown crackers in the chat. Yes, sir. All right. To tank or not to tank? That is the major question that we must ask ourselves. All right. And I'll do it like this. Look, I got my little handy dandy notebook. I'm going to give you guys my little Raider gospel on this topic. I got 3 points, and I may have a close, all right? For those that know, you know. All right. But anyway, 2-7. That's where we are right now. 2 wins, 7 losses. Okay. The offense continues to struggle, and the defense is stressed out.
Fucking Stizan.
Twuan, hey Twuan, hit that like button. Why? Because I like you.
See, that's another reason why the defense is so stressed out. They want you to hit that like button. All right. Hey, look, what it is our defense is stressed out because our offense is not coming up to par. They're not doing their job. They're not getting it done. And we have seen quarterback play that has been very subpar, and that's just being very nice. All right. We've been seeing very poor quarterback play. And that's the reason for a lot of our losses. If you look at a lot of the reasons why we've lost games, and you contributed to 1 or 2 things, most of that's going to be on the quarterback, which is the now apparent reason that everybody in Raider Nation is already saying in this next coming draft, it's time for us to get a quarterback. I think everybody's saying that. I don't think there's anybody out there that's not agreeing with me in regards to we need a quarterback. Okay. And with all that being said, the question is, should we tank? Should we tank? And that's the rumblings. Everybody's talking about should we tank, and everybody wants to talk about it. Everybody wants to get that out. And I think we need to ask ourselves, what is as I pull it up here. To my first point, what is tanking? What is tanking? If you don't know what tanking is, I'm actually here to break that down for you. What is tanking? A controversial strategy or intentionally losing games to gain an advantage. Okay, that's one definition of what tanking is. Another definition is deliberately lose or fail to finish a game. Okay, I'm gonna read those definitions again for those that are just listening. A controversial strategy that of intentionally losing games to gain an advantage, or deliberately lose or fail to finish a game. That is what tanking is. For those that don't know, now you know what tanking is. Okay? And you know what sticks out to me in regards to the word tanking, and especially in these definitions of what tanking is? The key word is intentionally. Okay? And I'll show it again in the first definition. Controversial strategy of intentionally losing. Okay? The key word there is intentionally. Okay? And we have to ask ourselves, is this team, let's think real logically, people, is this team intentionally losing games with the offensive line, with 2 rookies, 1 sophomore, a veteran that's injured, and a center we all know? Y'all know what I call him. We know what Andre James brings to the table. Okay? And that's not it. That's the poor offensive line play. Let's go to our running backs. 1 running back that's out of scheme. And who was a starter for us? One who really is a legit backup. Another running back that's said to be old. And then the other running back, every time he touches the ball, he fumbles. Those are our running backs. Let's move to quarterback. 1 is on IR. And by the way, I think he's our best quarterback. The other one is a turnover machine. And the other quarterback, Carter Bradley, obviously this organization is not trusting to be a starter. Okay? But I'll say this in the positives of our issues of our offense. We do have a wide receiver, Jacoby Myers, who may be, in some people's interpretation, may be a number 1, but definitely a strong number 2 wide receiver. And the real flash on our offensive side of the ball is a rookie tight end in Brock Bowers. So really ask yourself, are we really tanking? Are we really intentionally losing with all the things that I said in regards to our offense? Now you might say, oh, what about the defense? Well, hey, I didn't forget about the defense. Let's talk about the defense. The defense is playing well, despite the effects of what's going on with the offense. Okay? With the struggles that are on offense, it affects the defense, giving the defense short field to stop the opposing team. Okay? And we know that this should be our strongest side of the ball. Why? Not only because Patrick Graham has been our defensive coordinator for the past few years, but because our head coach is also a defensive-minded coach. So it would be strange for our offense to be doing well if we have a defensive coach. So that's why there's factors as to why this defense is playing well. Now, I'm not saying that this defense is a top 10 defense. I'm not saying they're the best in the league. But our defense has been playing well enough for us to win games. And we've been watching this all up and down all year up until this point, that our defense has kept us in games, and all we needed was our offense to do just a little bit. And that fell short. The other positive in regards to our defense is that 10 of the 11 starters that are on our defense have been in this system before. So it's not foreign to them what needs to be done. No. It's not strange to them on what they have to do in order to get things done. Which leads me to my third point. Business decisions. Business decisions. Now, we know Antonio Pierce has talked about business decisions, talking about people taking business decisions after a heart-wrenching loss. But these are different business decisions. Let me tell you why. These are the people making business decisions. Isaiah Powell, Charles Snowden, Adam Butler, Trayvon Merrick, Malcolm Kuntz, Robert Spillane, Divine Diablo, Nate Hobbs, John Jenkins, Janarius Robinson. Now, these are the guys out of a huge list of players that are free agents in 2025. Okay? And these guys are names that we're going to be looking for and relying on currently and possibly moving forward in regards to the Raiders. Okay? These are guys that have been starters or are currently starters in this current year that we rely on week to week defensively. And they're free agents. Now, how does that tie in with tanking? Okay. A team would have to intentionally lose to be classified as tanking. But when you look at this list and you look at all the starters defensively, Robert Spillane, Divine Diablo, Nate Hobbs, Adam Butler, Isaiah Palmau is now a starter. Trayvon Merrick is a starter. Okay? When you look at that list, those guys are free agents. Now, in regards to traditional football, the idea is that everybody plays for the team. It's a team playing together as one, offensive, defensive, and special teams. But I'm convinced that at 2-7, a perspective will change. And that perspective is, I don't care what anybody else is going to do, but I'm going to get mine. And these players, these defensive starters, even if the defensive team, even if the Raiders wanted to tank, these guys would have something to say about that. Because the NFL stands for not for long. And the reality is that these guys are playing for their next contract. Not only their next contract, but how much they're going to get in their next contract. You can't ask Robert Spillane to purposely, intentionally miss tackles. Why? Because he has to get that bag. Nate Hobbs. You're not going to ask Nate Hobbs to intentionally not guard that slot receiver. Why? Because he's trying to get after that bag. Trayvon Merrick, anytime the ball's in the air and it's in his vicinity, he's trying to make an interception on the ball. Why? Because he's a free agent. Okay? So, is tanking really an option? We can go even further. Those are guys that are currently starters for us. But as I go back, and look We got a whole list of guys that are currently still on this roster that their contracts are coming up, offensively and defensively. Okay? So I'm gonna leave it up to you guys. Is tanking really an option? Put yourself in these players' shoes. Think about how, even if the organization decided to tank, would you go along with the agenda? Or would you say, I'm going to ball out? Because somebody is going to need my services next year. Whether it's this team or the other team. And that's why, you guys, if you notice when I go live and people ask me my predictions on what's going on with this team, I always say the defense is coming to play, but we'll see what the offense does. And that's why, because of that. I don't think we have to worry about these guys not putting their best foot forward. An additional, Antonio Pierce talked about not tanking. And his actions show the same thing. If he wanted to tank, I'll say this. This is my Raider gospel. If Antonio Pierce, the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, wanted to tank, he would have kept Luke Getsy as the offensive coordinator. There's no need to bring somebody in it like Norv Turner and make changes at offensive coordinator if we want to tank. My Raider gospel is that if we truly wanted to tank, Getsy would have did the best job at doing that. Just being very honest. But we're still making moves. Not hurting our future, but taking care of what's happening right now. By bringing in a Norv Turner, a offensive coordinator, and a head coach with experience that knows how to make things go. Scott Turner's getting his opportunity. And along with that, even though it has not been publicized or not, losses equate to a head coach being fired. So even further, Antonio Pierce does not want to lose his job. So he's going to do everything possible to win games. So if you ask me if tanking is an option, I would say no. Tanking is not an option. Even if we tried, we got a whole bunch of people on this roster that would say otherwise, including the face of this organization and this team, Max Crosby. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Hey, if you guys have not, go ahead and subscribe. Okay? Go ahead and subscribe. Look, hey, I'm gonna read your guys' comments. I know you guys were in there moving and grooving. I appreciate you guys coming in. Make sure you guys hit that like button. And if you guys like the Raiders, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It is completely free to do. Whole lot of comments in here. D-Menace Gord, Willie Wayne is in the building. Cliff, the big black dog, is in the building. Alfredo's in the building. D-Menace, Rob Pena, my guy. Good to see you. Tony Angel, good to see you. Just shouting at everybody in the chat. Al's Ghost, good to see you. Billy Davis, good to see you. Thanks for coming back. Doppelganger, good to see you. Lakers in 5 is in the building. Salute to you. If you guys like the Lakers, go ahead and check out Lakers in 5. Great channel to be a part of. Go ahead and subscribe. Navy Vet is in the building. Detroit God is in the building. Salute to everybody. Hey, look. You don't know how many. Hey, I'm not. Let me say this to clarify before anybody goes any further with it. I've heard some people talk about tanking. Content creators, non-content creators. And if that's what you feel, I'm perfectly okay with how you feel. That is your, like I say all the time, that's your Raider gospel. But my Raider gospel is that tanking is not an option. And it's for exactly the reasons I said. And more. You will lose the whole entire team when they know that's the agenda. And we're not in the business of losing our team because of circumstances that are apparent. Hypothetically, and I've said this, I think we're aware of what needs to be fixed on this team. I think we're aware of what needs to be roster-wise. We know we need a quarterback. We know we need to beef up our offensive line. We know we need, and I think, to be honest with you, and I'm going to let some people come in. I see Afakasi in the building. I see my brother Auntie Six is in the building. Let you guys come in. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you think. I mean, it sounds lovely to, lose a whole bunch of games and then, now we got the number 1 pick, but it's not worth it, in my opinion. But you guys can come in. Let me know what you guys think. Definitely, you guys are welcome to be respectful and say your Raider gospel. But tank is not an option. It would be, and I'm not saying other teams tank, but some people schematically have that. Like, you could say possibly the Texans maybe tanked maybe once or twice. Maybe what was the other team that? There was reports out there that the Dolphins tanked for Tua. But I don't think it's worth it. Yeah. I got some time. Afakasi. For sure. But you guys let me know. Let me know in the chat what you guys think. And let me know why. I like to break things down over here and give you guys reasons why. I do homework. So, please, when you guys have a comment, tell me why. Hey, I don't like Andre James. Why? Because every time he snaps the ball, instead of going forwards, he goes backwards. See, there goes a reason, right? See, that was a good example. Okay. Yes, sir. And I'll show you guys, and I'll show you guys again, for those that may have missed it. I brought this up a while ago for another show that I did, but it ties into everything that we're doing here. These are our free agents of 2025. Okay. Some of these guys are not on the roster because this was early, but a good majority of these guys are still around. Amir Abdullah, Isaiah Palamal, Sam Webb's still here. Wilkinson's still here. Nestor J gets bounced back and forth from practice squad to 53. MarTwuan McCall was a guy that we kind of had bouncing back and forth to. Next slide. Tyreek McAllister's still here. Sincere McCormick is still here. Okay. Charles Snowden, like I said. Kane Mwalga, the linebacker, who also plays fullback. Jordan Meredith, our starting offensive lineman right now. Okay, he's our guard. Adam Butler and Matthew Butler are still here. Okay, Trayvon Merrick. Faison, I believe he's still injured and gone. Malcolm Kuntz is injured, but we know that he was a starter for us. Robert Spillane, Divine Diablo, Nate Hobbs, Harrison Bryden, our tight end. John Jenkins. Okay. DJ Turner, Janarius Robinson. Okay. Those are all guys that have contracts coming up. So anytime they get on the field or have the opportunity to get on the field, they're going to try to do their best. Okay. So the positive is, and I'll say this too, the positive is, it's a positive and a negative. The positive is that these players are playing for their bag. Okay. But the negative is that they're playing for their bag. Okay. Because you ultimately want everybody to play for the team. You ultimately want everybody to play together as one. But there comes a part where, hey, I got to keep groceries in the garage, in the refrigerator. Okay. I gotta put food on the table. And in order for me to put food on the table, I gotta make this tackle. In order for me to, you know what I'm saying, keep the roof over my head, I gotta get this interception. I gotta make that play. Okay. So you remember like in preseason where everybody was, everybody tries to put their best foot forward and, put something on tape because either the team that they're currently with or another team may possibly want to pick them up. Well, that's what these guys are doing. And some of these guys are really on the limbo for me. And I'll bring up that key defensive starter list. Our defensive free agents. Okay. Person in limbo for me is Divine Diablo. Okay. He can walk. Okay. I think we can possibly upgrade there. John Jenkins is now a very old guy at defensive tackle. It might be time for him to walk. Okay. I've said it with Malcolm Kuntz. We got to play ball. Okay. We can't give him the top dollar, but we can talk, we can negotiate because he's coming off of an injury. Okay. Isaiah Palmer is a guy kind of on that bubble of a for sure pay him out. Robert Spillane, you got to pay him. Nate Hobbs, I would say you got to pay him. Okay. Trayvon Merrick is a guy that I would say you got to pay him. Okay. As I bring in my talented guest, again, it's an honor to have him on. I know he'll have his perspective, and I'll just let him do his thing. And yeah. Did he? I think he clicked out. Come on back if you can. The link is in the chat. Again, oh yeah, here we go. Afakasi Raiders in the building. Good to see you, brother.
What's up, Twuan? Everyone in the chat, how are you, brother?
Good. Did you get a chance to peep in on what I was talking about, or you got a perspective?
I just caught a glimpse of you had a share screen of some free agents. I was just in the middle of driving to the dog park.
Oh, got it. You want me to bring it up?
Yeah, shoot. Go ahead.
That one. Those are those and Afakasi. Those are guys that I'm saying are guys that have been starters for us, and definitely guys that we may be possibly relying on, as consistency of that defensive side of the ball. We know the offense needs. Huh?
Is Jack Jones coming off contract, or has he still got one more year?
Jack Jones has another year. His contract is he's actually going to be done in 26. So he has another year under that contract.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
How do we swindle that?
He was because he was a rookie.
So he was drafted in 22 or 23?
I believe it was 23.
That was last year. So he was cut from the Patriots in his rookie season.
Or
I'm pretty sure he was a sophomore last year.
Oh yeah. So yeah, it's 22.
Okay.
Yeah, because he wasn't over at the Patriots too long.
Yeah, I know that. But if he's cut from another team, do we pick him up on his rookie deal, or is he just starting afresh?
You know what? I have to look at the logistics on that, because I think because we took on that contract.
Okay. All right. Look, I'm just spitballing. Like, I don't want to take you away from what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So whatever.
But
can I have a look at those players again?
I believe we took on that contract, and that's why it just worked. Because I was high on him coming out the draft, and it was just just ironic that he ended up landing with us after being over there at the Patriots. Now this is and Afakasi, this is a short list of guys. Like I said, I have almost the full list, or pretty much the full list of the guys that are up in 25, but it's offensively and defensively.
Right.
Yeah. But when you look when you look at this, you look at Robert Spillane, Divine Diablo, Nate Hobbs. That's 3. 4, Trayvon Merrick, Isaiah Palomau. That's 5. Adam Butler is a starter. So you have 6 guys. You know what I'm saying?
You're forgetting someone. You're forgetting Malcolm Kuntz. You didn't even say him out loud.
Yeah, Malcolm Kuntz. But he's not. I'm saying currently now. Like, guys, right. if we play next week, those are guys that'll be out there for us. It's Trayvon Merrick, Robert Spillane, Divine Diablo, Nate Hobbs, and Isaiah Palomau. Now, John Jenkins, he kind of comes in and out because he's kind of just that run stuff rotational guy. But there's like 6 of those guys that are on that list that are starters. You know what I'm saying? Right. So that's why when I looked at the list and was like, there's no way, like in my head, there's no way that we can tank with those guys having, you know what I'm saying, having to prove themselves this year.
Well, the defense isn't really the issue. I mean, at times it's been a lot more disappointing than what we were expecting, but at the same time, like, I personally feel they're trying to make up for a lot with the deficiencies on offense. You know what I'm saying? Like, the biggest problems are on the offensive side of the ball, and then on defense, like, it's been more disappointing than what a lot of us were expecting. But like, yeah, like they're on the field a long time. There is injuries at key players and at key positions like that. Those injuries on the defensive line really hurts us. Like that was supposed to be the strength of our team, and losing Kuntz right from the rip, losing Wilkins, Max Crosby playing week in and week out. Now we've lost Butler, who's been the only other pleasant surprise, like guy has been consistently decent, if you will say, on the defensive line. Like all these other guys just, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
ain't shit. So it's like Max Crosby's trying to do everything hurt, which is pretty much taking a lot of what attention, putting a lot of attention on him and minimizing like just how much he's able to do. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and that could be a dangerous situation too, Alpacasi, because I feel like, you know, the way Max Crosby is personality wise, he's going to want to make up for the other deficiencies of the team. You know what I'm saying? So he might, you know, even with him injured, he might strain himself even more to, you know, to get things done. And that might, you know, I'm knocking on wood, but that might backfire on him. You know, because you can be in a situation where you're trying to do too much, and it don't work out for you. You know, I'm reminded of
I can appreciate the heart side of it, like wanting to, you know, be out there and give 110% for the team, but sometimes, like, you know, if you're hurt, you're hurt. You need to you either need to have someone who makes the decisions for you if you're not willing to make them yourselves, and put your hand up and say, look, I'm hurt. Like, it's probably not a good idea to play. You know what I mean? Because he's going to play, if we're up to him, probably with a broken leg. You know what I'm saying?
And Robert Spillane is the same way. But I understand why Robert Spillane is doing what he's doing, because, again, Robert Spillane's money is on the line. You know what I'm saying? He's playing for his contract. So it's okay. I'm not gonna say it's okay for him to be out there playing hurt, but like in his situation, he has to go for broke. You know what I'm saying? It's like either I go out there and ball out and be consistent, you know what I'm saying, and do the best I can for my next contract, or bow out and then get a mediocre contract. Because again, Telesco's not going to play around with him. Like if he's missing games, Telesco's going to drop a couple of million on that on whatever he offers him at the end of the year.
You think so? I mean, Spillane to me has done enough in his season, and what is it? We're almost, you know, we're over halfway through this season, and in that whole time frame, he has been consistently good, like the best linebacker we've had in a long time. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if we were to shut down Spillane, like, I think he's done. There's not really much more he can do to earn as much of a contract that he's going to get by season end. Whether it's us who pay him or whether it's another team, I don't think he's going to have a problem. I think the body of work is already there. So, you know,
I mean, that's definitely a good perspective to look at. But like for like, you know, and I'm not disagreeing with it, but I just feel like the way that Telesco has been going along with negotiating contracts, like if that person's not available, you know what I'm saying, week to week, you know, he might be like, hey, I'm gonna take a couple of, you know, shave you a couple of million because you know, like, and that's why, like with Kuntz, I feel like if Kuntz played like he played when he was on the field last year, like if he did that all this year, we would be having another Max Crosby type of, you know what I'm saying, contract that we would have to fork out. But because he's missed games, I don't know what contract he's going to be able to garner. You know what I'm saying? Because of that. So I do see that, but I feel like with Robert Spillane, he wants to earn his money and he's going to be out there no matter what,
Well,
whether he's limping or not.
I think he's already, like I said, I think he's already earned his money. Whether it's us will pay him or not, time will tell. I hope to see him back. But the other thing you've got to take into consideration, Twuan, is that Robert Spillane is going to be valued, especially with this team, is like, what other linebacker do we have that's worth anything? You know what I mean? Like, I'm rocking Diablo's jersey, but like he has been like, I mean, he had his best game. Was it against the Steelers? I believe.
Yeah, I think he did well.
The Steelers game was his best game as a Raider up until this point. But outside of that, like that kind of play has been inconsistent. Like name another linebacker we have that we can rely on. Your favorite player, Luke Masterson. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's my guy, but like I by no means see him more than what he is. He's a rotational guy. Tommy Eichenberg, like to me, he's been very underwhelming. Like whether he's not ready or he's just not up for it, time will tell.
Yeah.
Amari Ferrari, like I like him, but like he hasn't really had that much opportunity, and he's a UDFA. Are we gonna really bank on this guy in his sophomore season to take that much of a leap to where we're gonna rely on him? You know what I'm saying? Like we get rid of Spillane, we're gonna have to revamp that whole entire core. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's gonna create that's creating another problem. So I personally think he's done enough to deserve us to re-sign him. I hope that's the case, but if not, whatever.
And I feel you on that, because I feel like with Spillane, you can build around him. He's that type of guy where, and with your Divine Diablo, I've been saying he's a question mark for me, especially because money's going to be involved. Like I feel like we can get somebody to replace him, and maybe even better.
Right.
I that's how I feel about Diablo. Like not saying that he's he's completely horrible or anything, but I just feel like we can upgrade right there at that spot. But the guys that we have behind him, like an Eichenberg, is young. I don't think he's completely ready. Masterson, he's been one of those one of those hot and cold situations. He'll have one good game or one good play, and then we're like,
at least that time he's done some things, not like Amari Bernay. What the hell's this cat done? Yeah. Let's talk about him.
Non-existent. Where has he been? We talk about Amari Gaynor more than we talk about Bernie.
Get him up out of here. Show something next season in preseason if we're going to keep him around. Otherwise, he can bounce.
I'll preach my sermon, on cheap labor. I think Bernie's going to stay here until his contract is up, and after that, you can go.
That's another 2 years. If he's going to show us this much progression and production, and it's not going to get that much better by next season and by next preseason. And I'm looking at a lot of these other cats that have been around for a while, and they're not really doing nada like a Christopher Smith. You know what I'm saying? Like, look what happened with Byron Young. We cut bait with him this preseason because he just wasn't getting the job. Check this. He got beaten by Matthew Butler, who, what has he done in his 3 seasons as a Raider? You know what I'm saying? So, no, I'm not letting that fly just because we drafted him as cheap labor that we're going to keep him around to do what? Squat. No, he can get up out of here unless he shows something by next preseason at the least. Otherwise, bounce.
Yeah, I think competition is going to, to edge that out. I think there are some guys like even with Nesta Jade, I could see that Nesta Jade is kind of on that.
Well, he's out. He's already gone. He's gone.
Yeah. But they keep cutting them, and then they bring them back to the practice squad. So I'm like, is it one of those situations where that's the guy that they keep bouncing back and forth? We'll
at least I can live with Nesta being a practice squad guy, being that like at least when he's on the field, I notice him doing some things some of the time. I can accept that. But when you're around for more than a season and you've done nada, like nothing, like, nothing to offset like the amount of time that you just like doing, not really getting noticed. You know what I mean? Like these rotational guys, late round picks, whatever. I'm not asking them to light the house on fire, but you've got to do at least something some of the time. And when I'm looking at these cats like Amari Burnett, Christopher Smith III, Matthew Butler, these draft capital that we using in the latter rounds after a season, like when it comes to year 2, year 3, no more concessions. If you're not doing anything, get the fuck out of here. Surely we can find better depth with I don't know, in the draft or with UDFAs or waiver wire. I don't know. I don't care. I'm just sick of having these players around, and other players. Sincere McCormick, I have a lot of criticism for being a third-year running back. He's been sitting on the practice squad, and despite our running back woes, he's never played a regular season snap as a Raider. Like, why are we keeping these guys around? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. We got to have somebody, but we ain't getting the right people. It seems like that's what's going on with some of these guys. And like I said, in order for those guys to comfortably walk, we're going to have to build and bring in guys. You know what I'm saying? We're going to have to continuously. That's why, even last year I was opposed to, the Efton picks, because it's like when you really look at the totality of this team, we're top heavy and barely top heavy. We got the starters that look somewhat okay, but behind that, right, can we really say we're solid?
A lot of our, I brought this up a few times in my own lives. Like a lot of what's hurting us, like now, I feel is the lack of production from, to your point, like we were set with our starters, say, on defense this year, but like now, like I'm looking at the defensive line. You know what I'm saying? Like we were missing Kuntz, we're missing what's his name? Wilkins, and now Adam Butler's hurt. So we're relying on guys that will say we drafted, or because we addressed that defensive line in the draft in the last 2 seasons with guys like Byron Young, Matthew Butler, and Tyree Wilson. You know what I'm saying? And now it's like, well, we need you to step in and step up. We're missing these guys right now. Is your time. And the fact that we're not getting that kind of production, and the linebacker as well, we're when Robert Spillane's been out, when Diablo's been out, it's like, right, like Amari Burnett, can you do something? He's barely been on the field. Tommy Eichenberg, can you do something? Fair enough. He's what, a 5th, 6th round rookie, but like, I haven't been impressed by what I've seen from him on the field. You know what I mean? Like, I haven't noticed Trey Taylor on the field, MJ Devonshire, whatever, but like, I did notice Cam Richardson last week. He did make a play or two, so I will give him that. Like, it's nice to see him come in and step up, just a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think these are the kind of things that hurt us in the long run.
I don't even think Devonshire is on the team anymore. I think they got rid of him.
He's floating around the practice squad, isn't he?
Oh, okay. Yeah,
but even still, it is whatever. Like, he's a 7th round guy. So is he 7th round? Yes, these 7th round guys is like, if they even turn out to be a rotational guy, like that's a win. Like, anything more, cool. If not, like, that's neither here nor there. You know what I'm saying?
We the people said Diablo's missing key tackles again. Look. But I to be honest with you, I don't think I don't know what it is with Diablo and his tackling. I think I keep contributing it to his size, but you're a linebacker and you were a safety. So why is your tackling so?
He's pretty solid now. Like, when you look at him in photos and on the screen, like, he's bulked up. I mean, you look at him as compared to, say, Amari Gaynor, who's pretty lean and mean, you know what I mean? Like, built like remember Tahir Whitehead? That's who Amari Gaynor's build is, like that lengthy kind of lean, like try to get around the field kind of build, you know what I'm saying? Like that type of linebacker, not that kind of bully kind of linebacker. But Yeah, look, like I said with Diablo, there's times when he plays well enough, and then there's times when he's you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of him slipping off of guys. I don't know what his wrap up, you know what I'm saying,
Are we still
situation
leading the
is.
league in missed tackles? Like we were leading the league in that statistically at one point. So it's not just him. It's a problem with like the defense as a whole. Like granted they're out there for a while, but like yeah, I believe at one point this season we were leading the league in that statistic. That's a nice hat you got there, right, Twuan?
Oh, thank you. I'm trying.
Sorry, that's all I can see on the screen.
There's someone that popped up in the back, and I'm not completely sure who it is, so I'm just trying to check that out.
Did you get his camera on?
No. And they removed themselves. All right. That works for me. But yeah, there's they definitely need to stock up. And I think here am I being optimistic. I think Telesco is a good drafter. And I'm not saying he's a completely amazing, like he's going to hit on every pick, but I think he's going to hit on more than he's going to miss. Right. If that makes sense. And we haven't had that in a while.
Right.
I think about your shows when you do the, like every year you talk about the, the draft class, who's panned out, who's hasn't panned out. And I think we'll see, and this is just my forecasting. I think we'll see that Telesco will hit more than he's going to miss.
Right. I mean, I've praised this year's draft class and what we've gotten so far. There's some people out there that look at the whole picture, and I believe that's unfair, being that, like, well, you want to hit it with your first 3 draft picks. These from rounds 4 and onwards, like if you get yourself a starter or rotational guys, that's cool. Like 1 or 2 of them, if they pan out, that's okay. As long as you hit it, it'll get the bare minimum out of your first 3 picks. You want at least 2 starters, and hopefully a good starter right from the rip, or a stud like Brock Bowers. So far, we've gotten a stud with Brock Bowers. Like the only thing I see derailing his career trending upwards is like injury. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't see him being a head case like a Damon Arnett or whatever, where off the field issues will derail his career. I think it's only a case of injury. That's it. Like otherwise, what we're getting now should be the consistent and then some. So I'm happy with that. JPJ, look how well he graded. Like despite the offensive line woes, like he's been stellar. You know what I'm saying? Like he was one of the highest graded linemen last week in his first start as a center. You know what I mean? So the future is now at center with JPJ. And I like that he brings that enforcer mentality, because that's something that, like, some of these other guys on the offensive line I like, but they're not nasty MFers. You know what I mean?
So Andre James is not going to get, starter, and he's not going to, he's not going to be an all-pro center for us, moving forward.
Did I ever say, is that a dig at me? Because I never said that.
No, not at all.
Oh, I just want to clarify. Like, you digging at me? I never said that.
No, I me, over here, I've been on the Andre James gotta go,
right?
Bus, because God. But I'm glad, it's positive, and I don't want to get too excited, but it's positives. of
Right.
what I saw with JPJ.
Positive so far, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and that's something
Yeah.
like when you look at a lot of these other draft classes with these first 3 rounds, and I'll just finish up by saying with DJ Glaze, like, I mean, he's a guy who exceeded most of our expectations. Nobody expected him to start. Nobody expected him to be more than like, say, dare I say, a Brandon Parker type deal. You know what I mean? But like to get a guy who's been starting and doing a decent enough job has been a big win for me as well. And like
Oh, I'm sorry.
those sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Detroit. If that was you, it didn't say your name. That's why I was like, okay. But go ahead. Go ahead, Alpha Kasi. I'm sorry.
But like to get like the production from these young cats, like especially those offensive line guys, where we draft early with offensive linemen between 1, 3, 4, whatever, and just about all these guys struggled year one. And that's okay. Like as long as you develop from there, most offensive linemen take their licks. But to get what we've gotten out of JPJ and DJ Glaze so far, despite the offensive line woes as a whole, like it's been a big win. And that for me is like what you want out of the draft. If you're wanting to hit on guys, it's got to be in those first 3 rounds. You know what I'm saying? Like look at 2022's draft class. Like, is it 2022? The year we draft, was it 23? Sorry, 2023 when we drafted Tyree, Byron Young, and Michael Mayer. You know what I'm saying? Like that's your top 3 picks, and none of those guys have amounted to even close to being a good starter, a good player, even a rotational guy. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and that's what hurts us in the long run. Like we're having to look at like say the middle of that draft class to find guys that have been worth a damn, like Trey Tucker. You could say Aiden O'Connell and Jacorian Bennett, who's been the pleasant surprise. You know what I mean? Like I would rather what we did this year and wait for that back end to develop. You know, I can live with that. You know what I'm saying? Like for me, that's the bullseye. Doing what we did this year. If we can't nail it with our total draft altogether, you know what I'm saying? Looks like you want to bring someone backstage. Is someone waiting, John?
He popped up and then he went back. So I'm trying to. I was gonna click him in after you finished your comment, but it's fine. If he pops up, I'll just click him in without giving him an intro.
but do you agree with me on that front, Twuan? Like, I mean, look, like Celesco's had 1 draft, and for me, like he's done a good enough job. Like we found ourselves a stud. We found ourselves 2 good starters right from the rip. Including DJ Glaze and JPJ and DCam Richardson. I like as a prospect. Like from what I saw last week, like I think we may have something there as that dime guy. He doesn't need to be the starter. Like dime guy, cool. Be that other guy on the outside. Just do something some of the time. That's all I ask.
And I think you played it right with DCam. I think DCam can eventually, we don't know if he eventually will be a starter for us, but if he just comes in to be like that Amik Robertson, you know what I'm saying, right. the dime guy, and set that, then we're good. We're good. And especially like, with the guys that we had earlier, in that draft, you have, obviously Brock Bowers is trending towards being a real, offensive force, not just on this team, but in this league. And then
he's statistically leading all tight ends in just about every category bar touchdowns.
Yeah.
And that's a rookie. His first season.
Yeah, exactly. So you have that, then you have JPJ and then Glaze. All those guys are starters for us. So you got 3 guys that are starters. Then you can go down to, okay, the 4th guy, the 4th round guy. Okay, he's the next backup. You know what I'm saying? And I think the question mark right now is where we feel Eichenberg will eventually land. But he has, even though there's the talent that is above him is not so great, I think he still has a little. I think we'll be really looking at him next year.
Right.
To really do something for us.
We're looking at him and who's our other linebacker? Amari Bernay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not. Once again, I'm not asking these guys to be all pro bowlers, whatever, good starters. But if you're not showing value to be a decent enough rotational guy, then much like we did with Byron Young, much like we did with say remember Tyree Gillespie lasted one season, a Tanner Muse. Like if you don't have enough worth as a rotational guy to do some things in spots, and you got these UDFAs who, like a Murray Gaynor, like Polymel, who can, then I'm not giving them no concessions just because they were drafted. Like, you can go.
Yeah. Like I like I said, I feel like we have some guys, but I think it's more of looking at it now, because I think in the beginning of the season, I think we were all really optimistic, like, oh, we got this, we got that. There was still some question marks that we still had, and it's very ironic. And I said it, before, but it's very interesting that the things that the majority of us had question marks on are the same things we have issues with now. We had questions about, quarterback play. We had questions about our offensive line. We had questions at running back. And those are three rooms that definitely need some kind of shaking up. Whether it's kicking people out or whether just, hey, they're young, give them time. Like, they got to figure it out. And it's going to take time.
I think by, like, at this point of the season, they're not questions anymore. We got answers, and unfortunately, they're the answers that we were afraid that would be the case. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you're looking at, like, especially the offensive side of the ball. I mean, we're so deficient on playmakers and good enough starters. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you get concessions like for development, like for these young cats. You know what I mean? Like, there is that, but like, when you're looking at, like, say, like the offensive line, I'll start off there. Like the veteran guys, they've all played well below what we were hoping for. You know what I'm saying? Like Colton Miller, his time might be up. You know what I mean? Like, he just hasn't been the Colton Miller of old, and that's okay. Like, I mean, well, it's not okay, but at the same time, it's like, look, he's been a good Raider up until this point. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, we've gotten good production out of him, and I'm not going to complain about that. But like, at the same time, injury and father time catches up with everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes just sooner than other players, but we will see. You know what I mean? But like, Andre James is another one. Andres Pete, Cody Whitehair, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, all these guys have well played below the expectation we had of them. And then you're looking at the skill positions, like apart from Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers when he's like healthy, like, we're so deficient with having good enough starters, especially, like, you've heard my rants about the running back room, right? I mean,
yeah.
Do I need to say it again? The worst running back room we've had in the last 30 years. Name one that's worse than this.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Yeah. And you can chime in on this, but I think Zeus would actually play better if it was a different scheme. Like, if we just stayed with what we were doing before and not switching to the Y zone or whatever, I think we would be better.
Well, I will give the running backs that, I guess, excuse that the run blocking has been far from stellar. Like, it's been pretty damn atrocious, to say the least. But at the same time, like damn, like, we're ranked 32nd or 31st in the league. You know what I mean? Like, we have never been that bad in my time as a Raider, and then some. Like, we've always had somebody in the room that was quite good, if not very good, if not exceptional. And this year, it's just a bunch of below mid, terrible kind of guys. Like, I'm all for getting rid of every single one of these cats, and even like Madison, like as much as he's been the best of a bad bunch, like he's not. He doesn't thrill me to pieces. Like he's not. You know what I mean? Like he's not really my guy I want to move forward with. Like if he's a rotational guy moving forward, cool. But if he wants to be more than that, then no. Like we need to revamp this whole running back room next year. We need a draft, like one, draft two. I don't give a shit. And hopefully Dylan Lorby like can start like picking up some steam by next year, or else like once again, like what I said about the linebacker core, I can say about him, if he's not gonna show by next preseason that like he can be a good enough like rotational guy and do some things in spots, and like sorry not sorry, he can go too.
Yeah I I know a lot of people were very high on Dylan Lobby, and I was already saying, hey, he's a rookie, give him time,
right.
And for me, it was because of what school he came from.
Right.
He was coming from a, very low, division school. And I'm like, it would be one thing if he was like at a D1, SEC or Big Ten, whatever, right? If it was one of those, like, okay, but he's coming from a school that really nobody knows.
To the NFL.
He could hit, but are we really going to rely on him to be responsible for our third downs?
Right.
Like, I'm not going to trust that.
The other thing that hurt him was sorry, Twuan, you go ahead. Okay.
No, and it just showed like he touched the ball and he's dropping it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, one carry
every time
he
touches it, he fumbles it. So,
well, he's only had one carry in the regular season, one carry for a fumble.
Yeah, but he did the same thing in preseason.
That's right. Yeah. Right. So the other thing that hurts Lorby is the unfair expectation that a lot of people were putting on him before the season. I mean, I for one was like, well, this is a guy from a smaller school, 6th round. If we're going to get anything out of him, if he can be even a decent spot guy, that's a win. Like I'm not like a lot of people are crowning him to be the. Am I going to even say it out loud? Like I laugh, I scoff at when people do this kind of thing, like give these players titles when they've done nothing to deserve it. Like Christian McCaffrey 2.0. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that for me was well beyond unfair expectation. You know what I mean? And like, yeah, like I like Dylan Lobby. He's a funny guy. Like, and I like the things that like he was good at in at the collegiate level. Like, even though it was at a smaller school, and I hope he can develop to be a decent spot guy at the very least. But once again, if he can't show that he can be that by the start of next season, and there's guys that we brought in the door that can, then much like Byron Young last preseason, if you're not up to scratch and they're not up to the bare minimum of production or expectation, and there's guys that we've got behind you just because they're undrafted, but if they're ready to show more, then I'm sorry, but like I said, you got to go.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of shaking and moving that needs to be done with this roster. But ultimately, back to the kind of original thought is that all these guys that we're talking about that are getting snaps on the field, they're not in the business of giving up. Because again, their contracts are on the line and they got mouths to feed, whether it's their mouths or people connected to them. Because we know with some of these players, they paying for their mom's food too. Right. So yeah, it I don't want to say it hurts me, but it troubles me when people say, "Oh, we should just tank," like it's just that easy,
Well, is
But
that easy when your team's not good enough to win anyways, even if they're trying?
and that's
We're not good enough to win games anyway.
that might be the positive of of the craziness of what's going on right now. They're not tanking, but based on what we have on this roster, week to week,
We're just not good enough.
we might lose games as if we were tanking. But and that's why like even like when you look at, I would say a good 95% of the games that we played, we were all in those games. I think there was just one game. I forgot. It was like a game early. It was just like, okay,
Carolina.
yeah, Carolina. There was like
we got
no
beaten
way.
literally.
Okay, we're done. But it always comes down to something last minute, turnover, you know what I'm saying, or something like that, and we're even with the
to your point last week, we were still kind of in it until that fumble between DJ Turner and Gardner Minshew. Then they started to get away from us. So
yeah,
that's even further to your point.
Yeah. So, I don't think that's tanking. I think that's just them trying and not getting it done.
Right.
And like I said, the defense is always going to fight, but it's up to this offense to get it done.
I don't think it's not a case of the offense not fighting. It's just like they're just not good enough. We just don't have the players, to the personnel and I guess the coaching to get them to be better than what they are. You know what I mean? Like a lot of these guys that we've got out there starting, they're just mid or below mid. You know what I mean? Our skill positions, especially, like outside of Brock Bowers, who we got? Like we got Trey Tucker starting out there on the outside, and Trey Tucker's a guy I like as a spot guy. I like as that possibly like either the slot or the fourth, wide receiver on the field. I don't like him on the outside as a starter. Like he has struggled again and again to even get separation. And even when like there's contested catches thrown his way, he just can't get up and get it, can he? You know what I mean?
He's an accessory piece.
He's an accessory piece, and I like him as that, but I don't like trying to make him more than that as it stands. Like he's struggling. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just not.
And it's not fair to him, but that's all we got.
Right. To my point. Like, he's the best of what we got available, and what we got is just not good, which is why I said before, like we're just not good enough to win as it stands at the moment, with the personnel and the coaching not being good enough to make this team better than what they are, unfortunately, as it stands.
So would you prefer our team to try and get the number 5 pick, or would you rather us just say screw it and still get the number 5 pick? What do you think is going to be the benefit?
Screw it, try, and if we get the number 5 pick, we get the number 5 pick. Like for me, like I don't even entertain the notion of tanking or whatever throughout the course of the season, even if things are going real south. For me, it's just like, right, I'm gonna ride out the season and then see where we're at season's end, and then I'll be like, right, this is what we ended up with. This is where we're drafting. This is what might happen in free agency. Let's see what happens there. And then after free agency, it was like, right, this is where the holes on our roster lie too, because free agency changes everything. You know what I mean? Like players come, players go. You know what I'm saying? But for me, like the only thing I'm very adamant on, and some people in the chat will disagree with me, and that's fine. Like I mean, my opinion is not the end all be all. Like it is just my opinion. I think it's time, no matter what happens from here on out, or even in free agency, we have to try with getting a quarterback in the draft and early in the draft. Like it's about time. We got to try. You know what I'm saying? Like Well, I don't want, even if we pick up a veteran next year, we've tried this game time and time again since Rich Gannon. It just hasn't worked out. You know what I'm saying? We need at least try to get our guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We
We need to be like, and I hate to say it, but we need to be like Atlanta. have your, have a starter, and then draft your future right there in the first round. You know what I'm saying? I hate that Michael Penix is in that situation, but I see how that actually works out for them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You get the guy for the future, your mainstay guy. You work with him behind the scenes, get him ready, and then when you feel like he's really ready to go, then you can let go of Cousins.
Right. That's always the perfect position for any team, like to have a young guy in the wings that you've drafted and have a decent enough like veteran guy to hold it down until he's developed, until he's ready, like an Aaron Rodgers situation, like a Patrick Mahomes situation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's crazy how other teams do it, but we can't.
Right. Well, look, I don't want to make this about Derek Carr. I'm just giving an example. Like, I know a lot of people see him as mid or whatever. I'm just giving an example. Like when we drafted Derek Carr, remember Matt Schaub was supposed to be the guy. You know what I mean? Derek Carr was just like, we drafted him second round and he was supposed to sit behind him. But Derek Carr managed to win that job in preseason that year, rightly so. And he had his year one struggles. So what we did was we said, all right, well, there's some pieces there, like we had Donald Penn and some other guys, you know what I mean? But like for the most part, we needed to build around him. So what did we do the season after that? We drafted Amari Cooper. We brought in Michael Crabtree. We signed Kalichi Assembly, Rodney Hudson. You know what I'm saying? Like we had Latavius Murray on the come up. You know what I mean? Like we built around him and had our most successful year since the days of Rich Gannon in 2016. You know what I'm saying? So for me, that's kind of like what I'm hoping for, is that like we find our guy and say, right, let's build around him. You know what I mean? Like if he starts year one, so be it. If he struggles year one, okay, not ideal, but like I can live with that. Like take your licks, make your mistakes, as long as you can show that there's enough there we can work on and you can build for the future and trend upwards to be the guy. Cool. But for me, it's like we got to try. We haven't tried since in the first round since Jamarcus Russell, and that's over 15 years ago. We got to get over that. You know what I mean? Like, yes, we messed up. We messed up royally, but it's time we try again. You're never going to hit on any shots that you don't take.
True, very true. I'm good with that, especially with, like I said, we can sit where we're at, right now, where we're ranked at, and still get that quarterback. It's not like we got to move up and mortgage a whole bunch, to go get that guy.
Right.
So I think
and even moving up like a spot or two, we shouldn't have to mortgage overly. Like, we might have to sacrifice a next year first round or whatever, but like it's not like I don't see us having to be wiggled out of 3 first rounds and not like it would have cost us this year trying to move up for Jaden Daniels, and even then like offering him 3 first rounders they didn't want, because Jaden Daniels was their guy and they were a quarterback needy team, and look what he's doing for them. You know what I mean? Like a franchise is just not going to give up on taking a prospect like that if you need to address the most important position in football.
Yeah. And I think we'll be sitting, like I said, I've been saying it for a while. I know it's still, things are still shaking out because we're a little past halfway, through the season. So we don't know how it's really going to fully line up, but I think we'll be in play wherever we're at to go get one of those top quarterbacks. Yeah. Definitely.
And that's contrary to like a lot of these seasons, even when we've been disappointing or bad, like we're usually kind of, we haven't really needed to take a quarterback, despite what you might feel about Derek Carr. You know what I mean? He was there for 9 years, and we only addressed trying to find a developmental guy one time with Connor Cook. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like we're usually out of that range anyway. We're usually around like that 7 to 10, 12 range, where it's like if we stay there, the marquee quarterbacks are gone. You know what I mean? Like if we're at 5, like we may just be a smidge out of range, but we're in range enough to, like, if we're gonna try and trade up, like it's not gonna cost us. It'll cost us, but not like the farm it would in previous years. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a price that would be right. I'm willing to pay that if, like, our franchise guy that we can believe in is there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We gotta take that chance. And for me, if we fail, it's like, so what? You know what I mean? Like, what's the news? You know what I mean? Like,
we've been failing at quarterback, so
right.
Well,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. That's been my point the whole time. At least if we try, you know what I mean? Like we may, if it goes right, we found our guy for the future. Hallelujah.
yeah.
But we're never gonna find him unless we try.
Yeah. I'm tired. I'm tired of Jarrett Stidhams and Minshew's
Jimmy
and
Garoppolo's and Minshew's and hoping like round 4, 5 guys turn out to be the guy. And that's no shade at Aiden O'Connell. I like him as that, guy who can start and win some games in a pinch, but he's not my guy for the future. You know what I mean? We need that.
yeah.
Why can't we be the team that finds our Patrick Mahomes or our Lamar Jackson or our Jaden Daniels? You know what I'm saying? Like all these other teams managed to do it. It's about time we're that team who finds our guy in the draft.
Yeah.
Why not?
And with Lamar, I'll say this too. With Lamar, there was some patience there. They saw something in Lamar, but Lamar's arm wasn't. I wish we could go back in time and really see how bad Lamar was throwing the ball. You know what I'm saying, in his early years. But they
What college did he come from? Was it Louisville? Was that him from Louisville? Was
I
that
believe so. I believe so.
Right.
But he was, definitely a guy that they gave some grace to, because yeah, he could run the ball, but he couldn't throw the ball. Now, the Lamar we see today is night and day compared to what he was, and that's that's cheers to the organization for not, pulling the trigger, on him that fast. So sometimes we bring in guys and like, oh, get rid of them. You know what I'm saying? As soon as they come in, but they gave him enough to say, hey, there's something there, and we can work with that.
Well, as much as this pains me, it kills me to praise this guy. Like, look at Patrick Mahomes. Like, I don't know if you remember that year's draft. He was like the 2nd or 3rd quarterback, like in terms of like the prospects leading into the draft. Like, he wasn't like, he was regarded, but not like nobody regarded him as what he is now. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I actually watched some of his like Texas Tech days. I think I watched a game or two. You know what I mean? And I thought he was all right, but like, nobody saw him being what he is now. You know what I mean? And he came into an ideal situation where, well, he was drafted by the Chiefs in like just before the middle of the 1st round. They already had a decent enough game managing starter in Alex Smith. You know what I mean? Like, not a world beater, but like he wasn't terrible. I mean, he's been better than any of these other cats that we've had in the room the last couple of years. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
He came in as a gunslinger. You know what I'm saying? Now that was what was coming. That's what was the name on him coming out the draft. Right. And it just worked out that Andy Reid was the one to kind of calm him down.
Superstar, like generational talent. Nobody saw him as that.
Yeah. So it's time for us. It's time for us. Afakasi, I'm about to wrap this thing up. I'm glad that you came on in. Please let everybody know what you got going on at your wonderful channel.
Well, I'm going to be doing a live tomorrow morning with my guy on 6. I was doing it with my Wake Up Nation shows with Nutty Raider Nate. Shout out to him. We do it usually either Thursday or Friday morning. But I'm going to do one with Aunt Six tomorrow morning around 7:30 Pacific time. And what I was doing with Nate this morning, I'm going to do with Aunt Six. We were having a bit of fun, being that it's the bye week and the season hasn't gone so well. So why not go down memory lane and have a bit of fun with looking at like who we would have as our post-millennium Raiders team. So what we're going to be doing is, having 3 players at each position, and if it's like a defensive end and a defensive end 2, then that's 6. But just go back since the turn of the millennium and who would be our starter, backup, and honorable mention. So just for a bit of fun, that's what we're going to be doing.
Sounds good. I think with us being on a bye week, I think there'll be a lot of creative,
right,
juices going.
I'm just trying to be creative and have a bit of fun, because it's like there's only so many times I could talk about this team and it being more on the negative side. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know for sure. I have 1, possibly 2, more things outside of my routine things that I do coming up this week. So I'm being creative too. This was one of them. I was like, let me go ahead and bring out the tanking, deep dive and let everybody know where I stand on that. So definitely, you guys, Afakasi Raider, is the channel. Go ahead and hit subscribe on that. Really good brother. Much love for him and all his efforts in regards to the Raider Nation. So thank you, Afakasi, for coming in, man.
Twuan. Great show you've got going on here, and it's been very good to see your growth too. I've been rocking with you. I think I first met you. What was it, 2021?
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy when you think about it, like how we've all kind of come up together around the same time. Like, it doesn't seem like that long ago we were all starting out on this YouTube scene trying to find our feet, you know what I mean? And we're still slowly kind of growing, but we're having fun along the way and getting to make an extended family, so to say. So
that's the best part of it. I'll say it like that, man.
For sure.
All right, thank you.
I'll leave you to it. Thank you for having me on, brother. Take care, and everyone in the chat. All right, see you around. Bye.
Take care. All right, Afakasi Raider came in, showed some love, you guys. Hey, look, like I said, I'm about to close this out. I do got a couple of things coming up, so stay tuned for it. I am going to let you guys know who my favorite quarterback is, who my quarterback number 1 is, and hey, I might also let you know who I want as offensive coordinator in that same video and live. So stay tuned for that this coming week. Also, I might possibly, I know I'm going to have to put this one out, but it might not be during the bye week. But I do have a special live that I'll be releasing. So definitely, you do not want to miss that. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the notification bell so you know when I go live, because I do go live at random. And I don't want you guys to miss out on that. So definitely go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And as we go, I need for you guys to do this as I find it. See? There we go.
Fucking Stizan.
Twuan, hey Twuan, hit that like button. Why? Because I like you.
And hey, if you like the Raiders, go ahead and subscribe, okay? I'm going to be here every week, you know what I'm saying, giving you guys the player of the week, you know what I'm saying? That's the Who Ate the Brown Crackers. I also give you guys the game plan every week. I tell you what we need to do in order to win the game, the keys to the game. And then you guys know the 2 for 1 Nation podcast is always on Wednesdays, so you guys do not want to miss that. Okay, so I'm busy for you guys, so definitely hit that subscribe button, and remember, you're a blessing. Be a blessing to someone else. And let's go, even in a bye. Let's go, Raiders.
But I'm low.
Today is the day when our heroes of the past become our legends of the future. Time never really stops for the great ones. We wrap them in a cloak of immortality and remember what great people they were. We recognize you, Virginia Knapp, his sons Mike and Joey. They were a football family, so that John can pursue his dreams. To Raider Twuan on the road, and a tribute to John Madden and Al Davis. We declare that the fire that burns the brightest in the Raiders organization is the will to win. Ladies and gentlemen, the Madden family.
Hey, Raider Twuan here. You must watch one of my videos or lives. Thank you for watching. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and it's right there. Or if you want to watch one of my videos, watch it right there. And let's go, Raiders.